Yes, you've reached another episode, another glorious Thursday of the Kickin' It with Kysii show. And we have an awesome Thursday here. This is a great day. It's been a great season, man. It's been so warm outside. It's almost been spring. It's got the flowers out here tripping. It's got my grass out here tripping, the trees, everything out here, the bugs, everything thinks it's time to come out until it hits that last frost again. So, I don't know what to say about it, man, but it is all good. What is good, everybody? How are y'all checking in? Hope everybody is doing well today. And, man, I'm happy to make it to another week and a room full of folks here in my chat room. If y'all didn't know, I'm found at Kysii.com and found live on Spreaker. And that's where we have an interactive chat. So if you get to Kysii.com or click one of the links, you hit those chat bubbles, you will end up in a chat room full of people. Very interactive. We go in. It's an awesome time. It's a family. We've been on each other for a long time now. Going on 3 years as I've been doing this show. A lot of podcasters in here. A lot of supporters in here. And the number one thing is we got a group of people called the X Squad Affiliates. That is my affiliation that I roll with. And man, we do it big. Find us at xsquadaffiliates.com. So, right off the bat, man, I have to, if you please excuse me for my absence from last week. I was unable to do my show. I didn't put a notice or anything. I just didn't show up. It was a no call, no show. But basically what happened was I decided to go to the Morehouse Clark basketball game. I went because Morehouse at the time was 23-1. The basketball team, a Division II HBCU team, 23-1 was the record. We ended up winning that night, beating the Clark Atlanta University Panthers. Ended up being 24-1. So that's what we were as of last Thursday. I don't know if we had any more games since then. I think we qualified, won the SIAC East, and should be in the Division II tournament. That's what we should be doing, is represent SIAC in the big game, the Division II tournament. So, these are my thoughts here. I know I don't talk a whole lot of sports, but I'm going right into it. This game was exciting for the fact that I was in my alma mater. It was a group full of folks. Of course, you had a lot of folks cheering Morehouse. You had a lot cheering Clark because Clark is right next to Morehouse, down the street, within a 5 minutes walking distance. So it was the Fair Street Brawl. You know what I mean? So it was a very exciting, amped up game. However, it was exciting and amped up to today's standards, I'll say. You know what I mean? It wasn't the same amped up game that I am used to. It's a bigger gym. It's a newer gym. It's a different team. It's a different era. Basketball is different. This is what I got to say about it here. It's really interesting because of the fact that when I watched this game, I had a slight issue with the level of competition. Now, folks are like, okay, this team is 23-1, so what can they be doing wrong? They played their game. It was a fast-paced game. It was fast break, Clark, fast break, Morehouse, fast break, Clark, fast break, Morehouse. Clark makes theirs, Morehouse makes theirs. Clark makes theirs, Morehouse missed theirs. Clark missed theirs, Morehouse make theirs. Three-pointer, three-pointer, three-pointer. So it was a fast-paced game. It was a lot of jump shots. It wasn't a lot of taking it to the hole. We did have one guy on our team who takes it to the hole, and if we took it to the hole, we scored probably 80% of the time. So this guy couldn't be stopped when he took it to the hole. The jump shots on both teams were probably in the low 30 to 40%. But, I mean, they were big shots. They make them, you make them. You know what I'm saying? You go up big. You miss them, you know, you live by the three, die by the three. But my problem is, I think it's today's style of basketball. People, as I spoke about it, people say it's the Golden State Warriors style of basketball. You know what I mean? it's a similar style where these guys, they were smaller. There was one dunk the whole game, first off. I'm not used to that. This is a Morehouse game, man. We are used to tearing the roof off. It was one dunk that night. And the dude was a Clark guy. You know what I mean? A nice, one-handed joint. But it was none of the, that funk come from all the way back behind you and just yank that two-handed dunk that had a whole crowd just yelling. It wasn't no kind of dunk that got anybody off their feet. It was just like, okay, cool, that was cool. And that was it. It was not the standard game that I'm used to. A lot of dudes are smaller. They were faster, but there was no girth. There's no big man game in there at all. There's no work it down low and get it to my guy down low and hit, he's driving in. I guess they call that the old man game. But that was severely lacking in the game. But I feel like a team that has that element probably could have beat us. You know what I mean? I know I'm going to face slack for that because me being a Morehouse man, I'm supposed to have the spirit, but I just felt like it was a flaw in our game. There was a chink in the armor for our team. That's what I feel like. I feel like there was something that was lacking and missing. So I'm curious to see when we face a level of competition during this Division II tournament, a certain style of play, we may be in trouble. But our record is 24-1. We only have one loss. The level of competition, we're playing Fort Valley State, Tuskegee, Albany State, Clark Atlanta, Alabama State. I think we play A&M. We play Winston-Salem. We play, we play teams like that. So the Division II HBCU teams is who we face. So in this Division II tournament, we'll end up facing whatever type of team. It's HBCU, it'll be PWI. People don't know those initials. It's predominantly white institutions. You'll have those. You know what I mean? So it'll be a little mix of everything there, man. So it's going to be interesting to see how we faring. I just feel like it's a chink in the armor, but everybody else is probably playing that same type of game, so maybe we'll be fine. Maybe we'll outscore them in our style of play. It just feels like, to me, it doesn't feel like the same game that I'm used to and the same style of play that I'm used to seeing. So that's what it is, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, I was happy to see the alumni there at the game in full force. You had young and old. The sound system I didn't like so much. You know what I mean? It was like amped all the way up to the top, so it was really distorted. It was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like distorted. You know what I'm saying? So the music was so loud that it was hard to distinguish the lyrics, and there was no bottom in there like that. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like they could have worked on the sound system a little more there at Morehouse. Come on, Morehouse. I'm going to start sending my money in because it is time for me to start donating as well. And if you're from Morehouse and you got your ear on, be sure to take advantage of supporting dear old Morehouse because the brothers there need it. They need upgrades. They need changes. They need scholarships. And that's what schools run on, man. I was sad to see one of the HBCUs close its doors. I think it was based out of, was it Alabama, Louisiana? I can't remember. I have to look it up. But yeah, it was a school that closed its doors this month, and it's sad because it actually reminds me. On the other side of Clark was Morris Brown. Morris Brown was a predominantly AME-based HBCU in Atlanta, one of the oldest HBCUs in the country, but definitely in the Atlanta area. And it had a very large support system. You've seen there was the band and drum line that went against the fake school. It was the one real school in the movie, the purple and white school. That's Morris Brown. They actually have gone under. Very sad. I felt like maybe the AUC could have banded together, put some money to keep Morris Brown afloat, but there was some misappropriations of dollars and all kind of stuff that was going on. The supporters didn't necessarily pull them up like should be. So Morris Brown went under. There's other stories of other HBCUs that have gone under. I think one in Mississippi, I can't think of his name either, but they went under as well. So this thing with HBCUs going under, not cool. We need them. It's a very necessary thing to have. So we gotta do better, y'all. And a major thing would be awesome is if these athletes all of a sudden started banding together and taking themselves to these HBCU colleges. You know what I mean? Think about top high school recruits for the NCAA started going to HBCUs in football and basketball. It would change the game. You know what I mean? Hey, L, you said I don't go to many basketball games. Everyone play Golden State ball. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I don't, L. I don't. I haven't seen basketball outside of real, you know what I'm saying? I don't watch the college games until it gets down to the tournament time. So I'm about to start tuning in. Shout out to my Virginia Cavaliers, UVA. You know what I'm saying? I do follow that they have been doing excellent and see how far they can go. Historically, they haven't done so well in the tournament. We'll see if they will turn that around. But I don't watch college ball like that. I haven't paid attention to high school ball in a while, and this was my first in-person college game. Now, I do go to a professional game. Professional games, you know what I'm saying? The style is whatever that team is. So, Big L said, I don't go to many basketball games because everyone's playing Golden State ball. You know what? That's, you know what I'm saying? That's really interesting what you're saying. You know what? Big L, I said I'm opening up the phone lines to any and everybody that wanted to call because I said this is an interactive show today. So I'm going to put the number in if y'all are ready to call and really jump into it already. I am already ready, man. It's an interactive show. That's what I'm doing. So, L, if you want to call and discuss that, we can. But if not, because everybody really heard L's voice, and he has his Sunday show, man, that he's tucked away in. But if you want to call and chop it up, I put the wrong number in there, my bad. Got too many digits. It's 404-735-0602. Y'all know the number. That's my regular number for those people who are already family, friends, and supporters. Y'all know the numbers. Melvin said he went to the Great Moby. Yeah, Melvin. Morris Brown has been there as a great cornerstone of the Atlanta HBCU area. You know what I'm saying? The Atlanta University Center's cornerstone was Morris Brown. When I was at Morehouse, we had great rivalries with Morris Brown in football and basketball. Now, historically, Morris Brown probably got an ass every time because if you really think about it, it's just a bunch of brainiac scholarship dudes that went to Morehouse, and you know what I'm saying? It's some guys who really came from pretty decent schools in the Atlanta market in sports who went to Morris Brown. You know what I mean? So they had a little more edge. You know what I mean? Some of the guys might have, you know what I'm saying, had a little street cred. All I know, it was interesting. Clark is in between both of them. You know what I mean? You had a mix of both. Yeah, Clark. So very interesting how it was during that time period. I was a little upset. I'm not even going to lie. I was a little upset at some of the crazy propaganda that came out. Some fool created a shirt that said, Paul right here. Keep that thought. Oh, this is the Kicking It with Kysii show. Who do